Karibu Nyumbani family. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life for truly beloveds on your own terms. There's been so much that has happened in the last year. A lot of people relocated. There was a mini exodus to Africa where a lot of our African American brothers and sisters and, Africans living in Europe also came back home. But unfortunately, there were more recorded stories of people leaving than of people staying. There was kind of a wave, especially after, Magufuli was taken out. We saw like a wave of diaspora leaving Tanzania. And then, there was one or two who left Ghana and made a big, I don't want to say fuss about it, but really documented the negative side of their experience, which is important. And people are also leaving quietly. So I thought I would address this. Why is it that our African American brothers and sisters primarily, and British, British African brothers and sisters, however you want to call them, why do they end up going back? And, I've been listening to a lot of diaspora blogs just to get a vibe of what the issue is. And I highly recommend that you do the same, especially in the region or countries that you want to move in, move back to. There's one young man, I think he's called Mark Meets Africa, really recommend his channel. And it's actually his channel which kind of inspired me to do this. So there are 5 main reasons why people choose to, pack up and leave after, spending tons of money, spirit, energy to come here. And these are some of the loopholes that you should really try and avoid. The first one is that I've found most common is the lack of a support network. Especially because a lot of the people who are moving, some have had families, people are in different situations. Some have young children and they have different needs. Others, they're single women, single men moving and they need their own networks, etc., etc. But one of the biggest things has been people moving out here and not having a network, especially of their own fellow diaspora who will kind of understand and understand what they're going through. Because you see, a lot of the people who are moving are awake. I mean, we know why we're making certain moves, beloveds. And one of the things that you recognize when you come here is, Babylon has penetrated everywhere. So this place is just as asleep, but the long hand of Babylon will be less likely to catch you here. So that's one of the reasons, is not having a support network. That's why I highly recommend that you look seriously into getting some kind of, support network. And I did a video on this, either through the Diaspora. There's also something called the American Chamber of Commerce for our African American brothers and sisters. They're literally in every country, and it's kind of like a private kind of organization, but it's great for networks. It's great for kind of getting settled in and having some kind of support network. That is absolutely important. And having people who kind of understand either where you're coming from or the journey you're going in. Of course, I've been highly encouraging our brothers and sisters who have managed to successfully relocate to create some kind of companies or organizations where they can help those who want to, relocate. And we are seeing that there are some that have popped up in Ghana, in Gambia, and it's just highest integrity is what I'll say on that one. I won't get too deep into it, but may those who really feel called to help our brothers and sisters, may they use the highest integrity. The second reason that people move is because of boredom. Yeah, you'd be surprised, beloveds. Like, people move here and, they don't, first of all, not having a network. Maybe you've not really having any kind of work that you're doing and not really feeling that because there will be a culture shock. It takes people who have lived here. Like I left when I was 18 and I came back after maybe 11 years. And there it took me 2 years to readjust just because of like the Babylon psyche, etc., etc. So boredom is one of the things. And that's why I say, beloveds, come with a plan. The plan is, you have your own plan, but of course, it's to just ride this wave and the Spirit will give you a plan. But the overarching plan is to kind of get into a safe place, as far away from the cities, and get into self-sustainable living, and if you've been doing your spiritual work, you're getting there, and kind of disconnect as much as you can from Babylon and dial down your life. So there's so much to do in that because, while the electronics are still up, you can always get like an online job, et cetera, to help with your finances and also give you something to do. But we should also be trying to develop a skill or a trade. If you're a writer, write. If you know you have a gift of making things with your hands, start exploring that and, developing networks before the entire grid goes down. We still have a little time to do that. And so there is a lot to do if you start to look at the bigger plan of why you moved here and what next. It's not enough to just have the plan of I'm relocating and I'm going to be, and then, okay, I'm in Africa now. Okay, I'm in the motherland now. Now what? And that's a situation that many of our brothers and sisters have unfortunately found themselves in. And it has been extremely, discouraging for them. So have a plan, beloveds, have a vision board. Don't forget there's so much to do in terms of working on your spirituality. And I know we always want to put that on the back burner, but really, if you have nothing else to do, create vision boards, start to go deeper spiritually. And that will naturally draw the things that you need to yourself. And there's a lot that, okay, maybe that's another one, but those are the first two. The first one, of course, is lack of a support network. The second one is boredom. The third one is like a failure to integrate with the local community. And the reason this happens is because, a lot of our brothers and sisters tend to move to areas which they've been told are safe, or they go to the city and then, they still want the trappings of Babylon, of course, because they're in transition. I'm not judging anyone at all. But what happens is that the life you're used to, if you try and look for that in the cities, you'll end up living among the people you're trying to run away from. You'll end up living among the Indians and the Lebanese because they're the ones who can kind of afford that lifestyle. And that's why it's so important to not just leave yourself in the cities, but transition further into, into the villages, into the smaller towns. And you can still have your life there, but simplify, beloveds. Think tiny home kind of vibes, but you can still have all your trappings, but maybe without all the shininess that you'll find in, the houses you first rent. And I think it's important, beloveds, to really explore and to get activities that you're doing that will help you integrate with locals. There's things that you have, there's passion projects that you have, there's skills that you have that you can volunteer to the local community. And I think it's always important to say, I may not have funds to help you because many will see you. Engineered poverty is real. People have been in really, really difficult situations. So when they see you, they may have a bit of a savior complex, foreign savior complex. So it's important to work with them and also like help re-educate our brothers. There's so much for us to do, beloveds. And in that aspect, say, I'm not here to just give you funds, but I can teach you something. I can help you learn something and use total discernment in that situation. But that's the best way to integrate into the communities because, there's different social ways, church, etc., but I know many are kind of have already left that system. So the way it's done in Africa may not appeal to you, or it may, who knows? But those are ways. Get an activity where you can integrate. Anyway, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, beloveds, to Karibu Nyumbani. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? So, of course, we're talking about the the unfortunate situation where many have found that they have to return back home. What causes this? First of all, I want to say that there are many successful stories. There are many success stories. Many people have just come. They've blended into the communities. Some are even getting married to locals. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening. People are getting different citizenships, etc., and finding their way. And we have to recognize, beloveds, that it's up to us. It's a very personal transition, and don't give up. If it doesn't work the first time, I would say the one thing I would say is don't give up. You go, you learn your lessons, recognize that time is getting tighter and tighter and tighter. We can see with the global mandates here in Kenya, they've just given a mandate that, we won't have access to government services as of December 21st. So the things are being sped up here in Africa, but by the time they reach us, in comparison to Netherlands, where people are now locked down, I mean, they don't even have enough, vaccines for Kenyans. Stories for the days. So it's, so don't give up the first time. But why? What are some of the reasons that people have gone back? I talked about boredom. I talked about lack of a support network that fully overstands you and kind of gets what you're about. Not feeling the locals. You know what I mean? Not being able to integrate successfully. And I got a story from a woman in Tanzania who said that she did everything. She went and she wanted to do this project to help people. I think she was setting up some kind of organic agricultural something, and she just got, she told me how apparently she got taken advantage of. She got robbed. All these terrible things happened to her, and she really felt that, the locals treated the Mzungus better and were more excited to work with them and had more discipline working with them than working with her. So this was her personal experience. And there is always a bit of that culture clash, which is why some people decide to stay, in the cities, in places where they feel it's more like what they just left behind, where they feel a bit more, overstood or understood or understood. And so that's why, beloveds, I really feel it's so important to really have the mindset that you are coming to set up your own situation, that wherever you end up, whether you're here on the motherland, whether you're in the divided states, whether you're in Europe, whether you're in Canada. There's a lot of Canadians who have been contacting me lately. They've moved to like the furthest corners. The idea is to set up your own homestead, your own little, life, your own little community, me, myself, and I, if that's the situation you find yourself in. And like-minded people will come. You see, we have to do these things spiritually, and it's not easy because we've been bred and schooled and brainwashed to be almost totally physical. So other reasons are, of course, visa issues. People have found that it got complicated to, in the whole process of extending visas or getting being able to stay, where some countries you can only stay 3 months and you have to leave and come back in order to be in the correct status. But all I'll say, because I'm not, I can't say too much on this, but you can definitely, send me or inbox me and I'll give you my real 2 cents. All I'll say is this is Africa. And so there's always a way. Where there's a will and a little bit of money, there's always a way, beloveds. And so that's all I'll say. That's all I can really say. And so, how are the Europeans, how are the Lebanese, how are the Indians able to come and stay? And the Chinese, how do they do it? You see, we have to get that mindset. And unfortunately, there's not many who are willing to share that story. I don't know why we don't. You see, that's why we're not defeated, but that's why other communities get ahead in our own, where we have a head start. It's because we don't have that integration and community where, if I look at like my Indian brothers and sisters, they'll bring their cousin over, they'll set up, they'll bring their cousin over, they'll bring their uncle over, they'll bring, distant friends, etc., and they'll grow together. Whereas we haven't reached that mindset of coming together. And that really is a massive, massive drawback, beloveds. So these are just some of the reasons that people end up, going back. And another one is finances. Because people will come and find that, you're better off than the majority. So if you're coming to Africa to look for work, it gets a bit tricky. That's why I say start with something online. And there's many things you can do online. There's many jobs you can have remotely. And if you move spiritually, and if this is what you want, if this is your intention, it will come to you. You'll get the idea of how to do this. Or that's why I'm saying create your own online business or something, but come with a source of income already. Because the most expensive part of your transition journey will be the move. But once you get here, and if you have dialed down your life, then you can live very comfortably in many countries with $500, if you're a bit fancier, $1,000 in the villages. Like you can dial down your life where you're growing your own food and basically, you have solar panels. So there's a lot to do in your transition journey. But one of the things I would say is to avoid, one of the many reasons that people come back, and there are many others. If you'd like me to delve deeper, let me know in the comments. But is to really, really have the clear vision of the why, beloveds, of why you're coming back, why you've chosen that country, and have a plan set out for the first year at least. Because I think when people come, if they don't have a plan, then you end up just staying at home, staying indoors, because you don't know where to go. You may be told this and that area is not safe, and then you're always hanging out with diaspora. If you're in the cities, the kind of places the diaspora goes, the prices are exaggerated, so you'll find that you'll find that life gets very expensive. You're spending a lot of money daily. I mean, there's weeks where I don't spend a coin. Because I'm growing my own food, I've got solar, I'm not eating in restaurants. So literally there's nothing I am buying. And it's a good place to be, beloveds. I want to get into that absolutely, that's the rhythm I want. But, really have that vision. And I say have that 1-year plan. And your 1-year plan can be to go to the country, discover the country, even if you're going to be in the city, go around to different communities, kind of figure it out, get the vibes, etc., etc. Until next time, tuko pamoja.